Welcome to The Joyful Exchange, a podcast from Foundation for the Nations, also known as FFTN.
Ever wish there was a philanthropic, Christ-centered giving vehicle where you decide the giving and have fun doing it? Welcome to FFTN.
FFTN aims to draw together Youth for Christ projects from around the world with those who have the capacity to help them. Our motto is wealth into worth for the world, and our desire is to help those who are cash rich but time poor to make good decisions about where to invest their hard-earned money. Our FFTN staff and board have over 200 years' experience in working within the Youth for Christ family. Youth for Christ uniquely reaches young people in ways that are relevant to them in the context of their culture and life circumstances, giving every young person in every nation an opportunity to be a follower of Jesus Christ. For more details, see the links in the podcast bio. The Joyful Exchange podcast therefore exists to encourage and celebrate the generosity of people and the eternal impact that their giving is having amongst the young people of the world served by Youth for Christ. This is The Joyful Exchange, hosted by Simon Marriott. Joining me today on the Joyful Exchange podcast is Dan Lynch. We find ourselves actually in sunny Colorado with Dan, and we're looking forward to chatting to him. Dan, we'd love you just to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your role here at PEPC.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I think I'm supposed to say that at the beginning of a podcast, but yes, thanks for having me on. My name is Dan, yes, and I am a missions and outreach pastor here at Parker Evangelical Presbyterian Church. And I know that's a mouthful, so we use the acronym PEPC, P-E-P-C, which is Pepsi. And I know that's confusing for a lot of folks, yes, because I tell people, hey, I work at Pepsi and I'm the missions and outreach guy there. And they're like, oh, I didn't know Pepsi-Cola had a missions branch. That's pretty neat, And I'm like, no. It's a church in Parker. And they're like, oh, okay, that's still cool.
Tell me, Dan, I have messed your name up a few times because I know John has nicknamed you Pepsi Dan.
That's correct.
Was that a John thing or was that even prior to John?
That was a John thing. Okay. I think the first gathering we were at said Pepsi on there, and then he'd always say Pepsi, or it's just Dan, and then he just kind of just kept going, Pepsi Dan, Pepsi Dan, and so Here we are several years later. I am known as Pepsi Dan.
Yeah, lovely. And tell us a little bit more then about your role here.
Yeah, my role is to help people live out the Great Commission here at our church, and we didn't really have a missions and outreach pastor before, but I kind of stepped into this role, and so we had like a threefold plan of what we really wanted with our missions and outreach here. And the first one was really just to bring an awareness of how Pepsi is missional. Yeah. Because I didn't create this missional passion that we have here at Pepsi, the missional DNA that it really stems from our founders, 41 years ago when these folks gathered together to create this church. They just had missions in their DNA. Yeah. And so throughout the years, Pepsi has always been missional. I think where we were kind of lacking is just an area of really communicating and showing our congregation how we are missional. What does it look like that Pepsi is missional? And so that was my first task. And the second thing is really to help people join in on that mission, whether that's, planning mission trips that people can join us on overseas or locally, or even just serving locally here. How can people join the mission of God was the second thing. And then the third and last one was really just to help equip people for the mission of God. And what does that look like? What does it look like to be on mission with God, whether you're here in Parker or whether you go overseas or whatever that looks like? How do we equip our folks to be ready for the mission of God? And so that was really the guidelines of what my role here at Pepsi is.
Take us back to what was the initial calling? How did God guide you? What were some of the signposts that meant that you ended up here doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. I look back, I didn't grow up as a boy thinking I want to be a Presbyterian mission pastor. Like that wasn't on my dream board or anything like that. But, I actually wanted to go into law enforcement. That was my dream. My dad's a detective. He was a detective for many years, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And so I actually went to the police academy. Through a series of events that God had led me through, I ended up not joining the police force, and I actually ended up as a student pastor. As a youth pastor ministering to students and helping disciple students. And I did that for about 15 years and absolutely loved it. I loved working with students. I had a passion for seeing them grow. But I always like to tell people that one of the greatest tools that I had as a student pastor, especially here in Parker, Colorado, this is a very affluent area. And we like to call it a bubble, like people are born into this bubble and they don't really understand what life is outside of this bubble here in Douglas County. And so one of the greatest tools I had was to take our students, get them out of this bubble and take them on a mission trip.
Yeah, wow.
And so we would go to places like Haiti. We went to Haiti for like 6 or 7 years. We would take high school students down there. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen more radical transformation in students' lives than getting them out of their comfort zone into a place like Haiti. I mean, we go into a village in the middle of nowhere and we go serve in an orphanage. These students, these high school students, I would just see something connect in them, and they would understand the gospel a little bit clearer, and they would serve in a way that life was more than just about them. I took a student one time who didn't want to go to Haiti with us, but his mom made him. His mom forced him to go, and I was like, sure, we'll take him. And when we came back about a week later, she came up to me and she goes, what happened? And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, you took my baby boy on this trip and you brought back a man.
Wow.
Like, and I've never seen him like this before. And it's like, and I saw that during the trip, like this guy just, he caught fire, what God was doing in his life. And so because of that radical change that I've seen through mission work, and discipling these students and catching fire for mission, I felt like the Lord was really calling me and opening it up. Maybe this is something that's not just for students. We can do this all across our board here at PEPC. Because like I said, we never had a missions pastor, but we really wanted to help create a space and create opportunities for everybody at PEPC to engage in the mission of God, whether it's going on mission trips or serving in a way, giving, praying, whatever that looks like. So that's kind of how it, transformed here. So it's been about 5 or 6 years that I've done missions and outreach here. So.
I was getting a flashback of when I was in Kenya at the age of 18 with a sort of a multi-generational group of people on mission together. And there was what I would describe as an interdependence. Walls come down and you're dependent on each other. And obviously you're dependent on the Lord together for the project. And it's just a wonderful space and environment for that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get people out of, like I said, out of their comfort zones and realize that the world is bigger. The world is bigger than the 4 blocks that they grew up on in their school and their church that they go to. There's so much more in the different cultures, the way of life. I think the broader picture you have of the world that God has created, the quicker you grow up, the quicker you kind of understand the way life works, and God speaks to you through those opportunities. So
very much so, very much so. And even I was just thinking there, I noticed on the sign as I drove up into the car park, or parking lot, if I should call it that, it says that one of your key things is you're like intergenerational. Maybe just speak to that a little bit. Why is that highlighted on the board as you arrive at the church?
There's kind of 4 different values here at PEPC. We call it BRIM, another acronym. The B is for biblical. We try to be biblical. The R is relational. And the I is intergenerational, and the M is missional. And so each of those values drives who PEPC is. But that intergenerational piece is what I think is really unique here to PEPC.
Okay.
A lot of churches, they have a demographic that they can really reach, and they just get like, this is us. Like we're gonna be the young adults, or we're gonna be for this generation, Generation X, the baby boomer. Like they have their different generations, but PEPC sees this as an opportunity to really minister to the whole family. Whether you're a grandparent or you're in preschool, we got a preschooler at the church as well. And so I think that's a big part of our value, even within mission work. So a lot of I used to run mission trips just for high schoolers, and now we do intergenerational mission trips.
Lovely.
We try to get families to go and serve together. And so I would say that's a pretty big core value that we have. And I don't know if you saw the back of that sign, but as you leave our parking lot, there's a sign that says you are now entering your mission field.
Oh, very good.
And so as people come, they're
Yeah.
filled up, they worship the Lord, they're encouraged,
amen.
and they go out and they live the mission of God, whether it's in their schools or their homes, their jobs. As they leave this building, as they leave this place, that's the mission field.
I love that idea of we gather to scatter. And
Yes.
that's the way God does it. Tell us, because in the journey you mentioned there, from working with young people, taking them on mission, were there any significant milestones for you or anything that stands out in your journey of how God was leading and guiding you at that time?
For me personally, one of the things that I love the most is to see the Lord work in incredible ways. And I just love to be a witness, really. I feel like my role here as the missions pastor is really just to be a witness of what God is doing.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I've got the best job here at the church.
Yeah.
I try not to rub it in, but I do. I do. I've got I get to go around the whole world and see what God is doing, and I get to be a witness to that and come back and help share the stories.
Yeah.
And help our congregation see that, I think the world is bigger and this is what God is doing in different areas. Those early years taking those students on these trips, I could see that in them.
Yeah.
I remember one year we actually took when we were going to Haiti, but we had a layover in New York City. One night we're sitting in Times Square, hundreds and thousands of people. There's, lights everywhere, all the stores, all the things that are going on. And the very next night we're sitting in an orphanage in the middle of nowhere, Haiti.
Wow.
And just the contrast between the two worlds. Yeah. Like I could literally see it on the faces of those students that went that like, God is doing something different here, and it's beautiful. Even though it's hard, you take them into a place that's got a lot of poverty. They don't have a lot of material things. You get them out of that. They go and they hang out with these children, these orphans, and they see the joy that these kids that literally have like marbles to play with because they haven't gotten the new iPhone or whatever is going on in their life. And so that I think is, like I said, it was the greatest tool that I had, but not just for students, for anyone to get them out of their comfort zone. For me personally, I think that was, I didn't grow up going on mission trips. I didn't go on a mission trip until I led my first one 20 years ago down to Mexico. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I took a team down there and I was just like, I remember that first trip that I took. I was like, this is like a completion of what the gospel looks like, is that we could actually live into it. And so God really worked on my heart there too. So.
Super. Lovely picture of going from the superficial in New York City to the significant, standing
amazing.
With orphans. Yeah, wonderful.
Guys, why don't you just take a moment and grab a coffee really fast? I'm going to take some time and explain to our listeners how they could get involved if they like. The good news is there are two phenomenal ways. So the first is, as an enabling partner, you can commit to pray, and if you'd like, you can contribute monthly to help the foundation keep its wheels on the road, whether it's $5 or $50 a month. The other way is, as a project partner, you can sit around the table at one of our annual gatherings and give your hard-earned cash with confidence to some of these wonderful projects that we've been discussing.
This weekend at PEPC is the Celebrate Missions Conference. It's an annual gathering that you host, and you bring your mission partners from around the world to come and share some stories. But it's so much more than that, because it feels like it's almost like being part of the broader Pepsi family. You feel invited in to sit at a table with other people, to share a meal together, to talk life on life and share the stories of what God is doing. So just give us, what is the heart behind that, and how have you seen it benefit the church community over the last number of years?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hit it right on there. We like to think of it as a big family reunion, except people actually want to be there. I don't know what you guys' families are like, but people want to be here. We gather our missionaries from around the globe. And really, it's in the name of Celebrate Mission Weekend. I didn't create this. This was going on before I joined our mission team, but we call it Celebrate Mission Weekend because that's what we want to do. We want to celebrate what God is doing all over the world. And so the best way to do that is to hear stories, to share a meal together, to live life together. I always talk about how, yes, we have missionaries here at Pepsi, but I don't like to refer to them as missionaries. I like to refer to them as our mission partners.
Yeah.
Because as the church, as a local church, we play a role in helping support our missionaries around the world. And so our role is not just to send, but to pray for. We'll go out and serve alongside of our mission partners. So we really want to help our folks, our congregation, to understand that missions here at Pepsi, our missionaries, it's more than just us sending a check each month. It's a partnership that we want them to play a role in and be a part of. So this weekend, as we gather folks together, it really helps our folks. As they hear the stories, it changes them. It changes their lives. As they hear these stories, they see that God is big and what he's doing all around the world. But most importantly, what I've heard is it's a time that really encourages our missionaries, our mission partners, the ones that are actually in the field day by day out there, to know that they have a church family here in Parker, Colorado, that they can come at any point, even if it's just a once a year, that they come for the Celebrate Mission Weekend. They know this is a place that they can come. They can be prayed over. They know that their family is supported. They know that they can be encouraged. That's our goal throughout the week. And it's not that we try to do a ton of activities and service projects this weekend. We do that throughout the year. Yeah. This weekend is really a celebration. Let's just take some time to stop and thank God for what he's doing. Yeah. Thank God for our missionaries. Pray for them, pray with them, encourage them, build them up.
Yeah. Excellent. I experienced that 2 years ago, and in some way I thought I was coming to encourage and be a blessing and all of that type of stuff, but it was absolutely the opposite. I was leaving heart full, encouraged, just sat around a table with a group of folks that then prayed for me afterwards, and it was just a wonderful experience. Now, you've talked a little bit about support there. PEPC has been an FFTN partner for several years now. From the perspective of maybe other missions pastors or outreach pastors around the world, what has this partnership entailed with FFTN? And then also, how does it fit within the church's missional strategy?
Absolutely. I mean, FFTN has really been a game changer for us here at PEPC. I remember when I first joined our mission team that we have here at PEPC, and I kind of took on this role. I started getting all the mission emails at PEPC. Anything missions related, they would send it to missions@PEPC, and it would come to my email, and I would get probably 2, 3, 4 different requests a week from missionaries all around the world wanting us to partner and support them.
Yeah.
And at first I was like super excited. I just spent hours and hours listening and hearing the stories, looking up what these missionaries are doing, and trying to vet all of the different requests. Luckily, PEPC, we had a good vision and a strategy and kind of a rubric that we would run our mission partners through, because we didn't just, willy-nilly just try to support anybody. We had a plan, but it was so much work. There's just so much that goes into vetting all of the different requests that comes in. And that's what I love about FFTN. And like I said, I mean, it's a game changer. Instead of us trying to reinvent the wheel, FFTN, they've already connected with folks, and they've vetted, and they've got gospel-centered projects all around the nations. And so it allows our giving to be laser-focused in a way that we're focused on things that multiply disciples, because we know we can trust FFTN. We know that they've gone through this process. And so we get to really just be a part of it. It's not really about us being the heroes and finding who these mission partners are. It's really just about us fueling what God is already doing in places of the world. And so that really has fit into our mission strategy here at PEPC. We set aside part of our mission budget each year so that we can take and support these projects that are presented, and to know that we're able to support projects all over, all over the globe. It's not just specific ones, but through this one partnership we have with FFTN, we now have a global impact, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, excellent. And even just because some of our listeners may not be aware of the gathering and how the finance that has been pledged is distributed. So give us a bit of a sense of what has the gathering felt like to you? Maybe don't tell us what are the nuts and bolts of it, because we could be here all day. But what has it felt like to be in that room with other like-minded kingdom builders, I would say?
Yes, I got to say, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it honestly is. I try not to talk about that too much, because it's my job. And as I go to these conferences and these gatherings, I just want to tell my people back here at PEPC, I'm just going to go have some fun for a couple of days, although it is. But it's great. I try to think of an analogy, because people always are asking me what is FFTN? What does that process look like? And one of the best things that I've kind of thought, and it probably doesn't do justice to it, but I relate it to Shark Tank. It's this TV show, right? Where these entrepreneurs, they try to get these, wealthy business people, these investors to invest in their business, and they have to convince them. And so when we go to these gatherings, it's kind of like that, but instead of businesses, instead of investing in businesses, we're investing in people. We're investing in the gospel being spread all around the world. And so every project is a winner, right? You're going to get a winner on each project. But as we hear these stories, right? I mean, every project, there's a video that you guys show that kind of talks a little bit about the specific country, the specific program that's going on, the YFC chapter, the people that they're reaching, and then the project that they want to work on. And so for us, we get to see these projects, and we literally get to say, I want to be a part of that. We want in. Let's invest in this. As the sharks, we're like, we want to. And as a church, right? I know as a mission pastor, like I said, this is a game changer for our church, but really I can bring these videos back to my congregation, and I can say, hey PEPC, look what we did. Because of your guys' faithful giving, we were able to support 30, 35 different projects, and 25, 30 different countries all around the world. Here's a glimpse into that. Here's just a brief picture, a 90-second video of what God is doing through your giving. And it's not like we're trying to put Pepsi's stamp. It's not about it. We want to be silent partners, but to show our congregation that we were able to play a role in that, I think is a win, because there's plenty of these videos and we can show them week by week, and every week our congregation gets more and more encouraged that when they give, they're not just throwing into a black hole. Like it's not just like I just give the missions. I don't know. Hopefully it goes like they can actually see the projects and they can see what God is doing. So that's why I encourage every church to look into this opportunity. It really is an incredible game changer. And like I said, you just know that you're getting the best ROI on your investment.
Yeah. Excellent. And listen, you guys have been a real model of how to do that well, and we just love this partnership. In many ways, we don't really care who gets the praise. All we care about is the gospel has gone out and young people are being reached and discipled through the means of Youth for Christ and finding themselves in a local church community where they're just being encouraged to grow in the gifting that the Lord has given them. I think you've really nailed that one on the head so beautifully. Why don't we jump to a final reflection?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose the question is just really around what's on your heart at the minute? What has maybe the Lord been saying to you, maybe within the area of mission or just anything you want to share with us as we begin to move toward the close of the podcast?
Yeah, as far as like missions goes, and even with this weekend of just celebrating what God is doing, I just hope that our folks and people listening, people all around the world, that we just all understand that the Great Commission is not a suggestion; it's an invitation. Right? It's an invitation to join like God's unstoppable, story that He's got in each and every individual all across the world. And so, I guess my encouragement is to really just to join that, to figure out what God's role is for you in the mission of God, right? God's got the mission. He has a church to live it out. He has a church to go out into the world. And so as the church, what role do we play? Yeah. Do we give? Yeah. Are you someone that's supposed to give? Then give. Are you someone who's supposed to go? Then go. Are you someone who's supposed to pray? Then pray. Are you someone that's supposed to equip? Then equip. But join the mission of God. Be a part of it. Play your role. And I guarantee God will bless that.
Wonderful. Part for everyone to play.
Absolutely.
All they got to do is play their role.
Yeah.
Dan, thanks so much for the time with you. Now, just before we close out completely, we're going to move to a section that we have called the Joyful Six. So I'm going to fire 6 questions at you. One word your friends would describe you.
Oh man, wish I had some friends around here that could answer that question for me, but I don't know. Hopefully, maybe something like expectant. I think in working with missions, whenever I go somewhere, God shows up.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is, God always shows up. He shows me something new. And so now I've kind of gotten to a place where I just expect it to happen. Yeah. Like I know it's like wherever I go in the world, God's going to do something amazing. And so I'm just expectant and I'm just waiting.
Love it. Love the curiosity of that.
Yeah.
That's great. Coffee or tea?
Oh man, I would say both. It kind of depends on the time of day, I guess. It just depends on what day it is. Basically, we're just talking about bean juice or hot leaf water. So, it's all the same to me. I love it both. So.
Yeah, good. A scripture or quote that's inspiring you right now?
Scripture or quote. About 4 or 5 months ago, I was preaching on a passage, Psalm 51, and that's really just kind of stuck with me over this last, 4 or 5 months. In fact, I was in the DR a couple months ago. I preached on it again just because I don't know. David's crying out to God in Psalm 51. In verse 10, he says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." And that word for create, when David's crying out, "Create in me," he's not saying like patch up this heart, fix it, make it better. That word create is like make it brand new. It's that same word that was used at the beginning of the Bible when God created everything. And so basically what David is saying is rip out this old heart, this old wretched heart, and implant in me a new clean heart that is capable of bearing good fruit. And so just processing through that and what that looks like in my life, and especially as we go and we preach to the world, this is what God wants. He wants to make something new out of something old.
Yeah, beautiful, lovely. Thanks for that. If you weren't in ministry,
what's another role you could see yourself doing?
Oh man, people always talk about, I hear pastors always say that ministry, we don't have a lot of transferable skills. And so like, you think, I don't know, like if you'd asked me 10 years ago when I was doing student ministry, I probably would have said like a professional dodgeball player or something like that. But
nice,
you know,
nice.
I don't know. I like building things.
Right.
I'm not good at it, but I do like, buildings. I don't know, maybe construction or, carpentry, something like that.
Okay,
Just because
something
I like
with your hands.
Something with my hands. Like I say, I'm not great at it, but I could learn.
Okay. What's your favorite place in, say, Denver or Colorado that you think everybody should visit?
Yeah, you got to get outside of Denver, out into the outdoors. That's for sure. I love outdoors. That's why Colorado is a great place to be, is because we have the mountains. And so, I have some spots I just love to go hiking, fishing, camping, things like that. So I'd say anything outside, just be outside, go touch grass, hug a tree, throw a stick, things like jump through the water, those are things that I think ground us. And so the more nature we can get, the better.
Yeah, we were just driving by on the way up here. My son was looking out at the mountains and he said that just looks like a painting.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Well, Ireland's the same way.
Well,
when we were,
of course.
my wife were there this last year, we were like, oh my goodness. It's just a different type of scenery, right?
Different
like,
type of beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Last one. What's bringing you joy today?
Oh, joy today. I always say my kids always bring me joy. I've got a 11, 13, and a 15-year-old, and my family, my wife. I just enjoy being with them. So I'd say that, but especially, I would say today, as we gear up for this weekend, what's bringing me joy is just knowing that I'm going to be spending time with my family, from all across the world, coming in to celebrate the mission of God. So our mission partners, that's going to bring me a lot of joy this weekend. And you, Simon, you bring me a lot of joy right now in this moment.
Good stuff. Dan, listen, it's been brilliant just to hang out and chat. Thanks so much for joining us on the Joyful Exchange, and looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah. Thanks
Bless
for
you, my
having
man.
me.
Yeah. God
bless.
Dan, thanks so much for your time. I hope you like a warm beverage, because for all those that feature on the podcast, we have a little thank you. Our No Mug mug, inspired by the words of Jim Elliot, the famous American missionary. He is no mug. That is, he is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. One of those is on its way to you. And to our listeners, we hope you'll join us for another Joyful Exchange, when we'll be featuring inspiring conversations with visionary partners, ministry leaders, and change agents who are transforming wealth into worth for the world.
Foundation for the Nations is a Christ-centered giving vehicle facilitating Christian philanthropy and kingdom-minded investment, creating opportunities to make an eternal difference in the lives of young people around the globe served by Youth for Christ. You've been listening to the Joyful Exchange podcast. For more details, see www.fftn.org/joyfulexchange.